Rachel, too. Perhaps we should pray for Rachel. She's always here whenever she's supposed to be here.
All right, here we go. Nice to see my colleagues here again. We had a meeting at 5, and now we are back together for our 7 o'clock business meeting. And nice to see some folks here in the chambers with us. So I'm officially calling to order the Kalamazoo City Commission meeting for Monday, March, but that person is evidently unable to join us this evening, so I have asked the kind Commissioner Cooney if he would pinch hit for us. So he's willing to do that. Thank you. So what I will do now is I will ask everyone to stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
O God of all that is good and true and beautiful, we thank you for bringing us together tonight. This is a time when many people are in struggle. Many people are working for justice, and many people are hurting. We realize the importance of our work tonight because we are responsible toward the people of this city. So we ask for wisdom. We ask for your blessing on all in our city and in our nation and in our world. And we ask for healing, and we ask for peace, and we ask for justice in the name of all that is good. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you again, Commissioner Cooney. I appreciate that very much. Often we have the opportunity to honor special events and dates, and we do have that opportunity this evening. That opportunity is recognized in the 23rd Annual March for Meals Month. Also relates to our Meals on Wheels program, which I think one commissioner sitting up here drove for Meals on Wheels for a while. Is that correct? Yes. Wears many hats. So is there anybody here who's come to accept this proclamation? Please come forward now. I'll come down with it, and it's going to be read by Vice Mayor Hess.
Thank you for being here tonight.
Yes, thank you.
This is a proclamation for the 23rd Annual March for Meals Month, March 2025. Whereas on March 22, 1972, President Nixon signed into law a measure that amended the Older Americans Act of 1965 to include a national nutrition program for individuals 60 years and older. And whereas for more than 5 decades, this landmark law has helped to fund community-based organizations like Meals on Wheels, and it's still the only federally funded federal program designed specifically to meet the nutrition and social needs of older adults. And whereas this year, Meals on Wheels programs from across the country are joining together for the March for Meals Awareness campaign to celebrate its success and garner the support needed to ensure these critical programs can continue to address food insecurity and malnutrition, combat social isolation, enable independence, and improve health for years to come. And whereas Meals on Wheels programs both can congregate and home delivered in the city of Kalamazoo have served our communities admirably for over 50 years. And whereas volunteers for Meals on Wheels programs in the city of Kalamazoo are the backbone of the program, and they not only deliver nutritious meals to seniors and individuals with disabilities who are at significant risk of hunger and isolation, but also caring concern and attention to their welfare. And whereas Meals on Wheels programs in Kalamazoo provide nutritious meals to seniors throughout the city that help them maintain their health and independence, thereby helping to prevent unnecessary falls, hospitalizations, and/or premature institutionalization. And whereas Meals on Wheels programs in Kalamazoo provide a powerful opportunity for social connection for seniors to help combat the negative health effects and economic consequences of loneliness and isolation. And whereas Meals on Wheels programs in Kalamazoo deserve recognition for the heroic contributions and essential services they have provided amid the COVID-19 pandemic, inclement weather, and other emergencies. And whereas the senior population is increasing substantially, and action is needed now to support local Meals on Wheels programs through federal, state, and local funding, volunteering, donations, and raising awareness to ensure these vital services can continue to be delivered for years to come. Now, therefore, on behalf of the 55th City Commission and Mayor David F. Anderson of the City of Kalamazoo, I, Jean Hess, do hereby proclaim March 2025 as a month celebrating Meals on Wheels and urge every community member to take this month to honor our senior nutrition programs, the individuals they serve, and the volunteers who care for them. Our recognition of and involvement in the National March for Meals celebration can enrich our entire community and help combat senior hunger and isolation in America. Thank you for all that you do, and thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you very much.
Mayor has the proclamation.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Yeah. Of course, thank you.
While we're waiting for Mayor to come back, if you want more information, you can look into Milestone Senior Services, who delivers those Meals on Wheels programs. Thank you.
Thanks once again for coming down and representing. Appreciate that. Now is the opportunity to adopt the formal agenda. Commissioners, are there any items that are on G, the consent agenda, that you would like to move to H, the regular agenda? All right, seeing none, the agenda stands as it is. Next, communications, Manager Ritzma.
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
All right, thank you so much. Now is the opportunity for public comments. So just as a reminder, public comments can be on any topic. You have 4 minutes. Please come forward and state your name and whether you live in the city. And you can sign in afterwards if you would like.
Hi everyone, it's me again. My name is Tina. I live in the city of Kalamazoo. I've been in Kalamazoo all my life. I've never moved out of Kalamazoo because I used to love Kalamazoo. My problem is we on the south side of town would like to be able to enjoy the rain just like the rest of the other neighborhoods do. We don't want to have to worry about flooding or sewer backups every time it rains. Last time it started to flood, the storm drain started to flood the streets out. It was 1.38 inches of rain. We've got rain coming for 2 days now. What's going to happen? If we flood, we will lose our furnaces because it's cold, and then you flood, and then you got the sewer backups that backs into the groundwater, which comes up through our basements, through our sub pumps from the groundwater, which takes out our furnace. My furnace has actually made it 5 years. Since 2008, I've replaced 4 furnaces and 3 water heaters. Now I have an on-demand water heater, so I don't have to worry about the water heater anymore. But it still does a lot of mess to your basement and everything. I was just wondering, are we going to do anything about it? Because we're about ready to flood. Your ponds are overflowing, and it doesn't help that that truck goes there. Well, now they put a sub pump on the outside of the pump station, so that way I don't think they have to put the truck there no more to pump the water into the ponds to add more water. It's no fun, guys. Please do something about your storm drains. We're the only neighborhood that your storm drains flood out the streets, and doesn't even have to have any water around them, and they still flood out the streets. They're broken. They're not working right. They're failing, and that's the city's responsibility to keep clean water, to keep clean not sewage coming up, and all that. And it's not happening. Another thing, I wish you bring back public call-ins, because there's a lot of seniors that can't get here. I have to leave my second job 20 minutes early just to get here for these meetings every single time I come. If you brought back public call-ins, I could go home, I could work my shift, go home and call and watch the meeting from home. I wouldn't have to rush down here and try to get down here just to speak my piece and ask you guys, please, do something about the flooding. Help us. Save green spaces, not destroy them. And I was also supposed to tell you that your son said to tell you hi at the meeting tonight. He said it at lunchtime. It was so adorable. But please, we got to do something about all these issues. We have people that are starving. We have people that are homeless at my school. We have people, and I'm at a nicey school, so it can happen anywhere. We have people that don't have anywhere. We have all these places that are sitting empty. The house caught on fire on Lake Street by the Bank Street Market twice. All they did was tore it down, and the rubble was just laying there. Now there's people in the garage. But it's like all these abandoned buildings could build up small apartments, even if it's 10 apartments to a building. Nobody's going to fuss so much about that as they are a 40 to an 80 unit apartment building crammed into somebody's backyard where they have no peace and quiet and privacy. That's all I'm asking is we can do better than this, Kalamazoo. I mean, someone froze to death. That really sets heavy on my heart. I wouldn't want to be that person out there alone, sitting in a car by myself trying to keep warm and then freeze to death. We got to help people, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi there. It's me again, too. My name is Amanda Charbonneau, and I live 400 or so feet behind you above the library. I was here last time, about 2 weeks ago, and you might remember me because I gave you each a pair of socks and asked you to pass them out to a homeless person that you met in the intervening time. And I can see that Attorney Leal didn't, but I'm curious whether the rest of you did. What did you do with your socks? Last time, I know that Mayor Anderson spoke to one of the gentlemen that was giving you effusive praise, so I'm sure you can talk to me. So please. I take it no one's going to talk to me. Attorney Leo, if you wouldn't mind throwing those back to me, I'll make sure that they do get to someone. The only other person I'm sure about is Commissioner Cooney, because I picked his up right after the meeting because he had also left them, and I wanted to make sure they got somewhere good. So, thanks.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi, my name is Shona Espinoza, and I'm a resident of Kalamazoo. Whew. So I'm asking you all to, will you guys reach out and
Scott?
meet with us? Huh?
Thank you. Sorry.
Will you guys reach out and meet with us so we can discuss how we can fix this housing issue in our unhoused that are out on the street? It is still cold outside. People, I'm pretty sure, are getting sick or have been sick, especially with whatever this influenza or whatever is going around that are sick. Like my daughter just got very sick and she's housed. So I can just imagine what our unhoused is going through out on the street, sick while being cold and having nowhere to go, especially at nighttime. Something needs to be put in place so that they're not outside all the time. It's cold, and in the summer it's too hot. Something needs to be done. We shouldn't have to come out here every single time there's a meeting to say the same thing over and over and over. I work at a middle school over on the north side, and there's so many kids that aren't getting their needs met. Some are literally out on the streets, come to school, and they're tired. They can't even learn because they're tired. They're hungry. They're cold. Some of them are just trying to survive every single day. And how is that their fault? As we as a city should be coming up with a solution. If you don't give a damn about the adults, care about these kids. They are our future. You see what's in office? We want somebody that's going to be able to take over and do what's right for all of us as a whole, not just certain people because they're privileged. Those are our future. Those are our babies. Regardless if they're ours or not, we all should be looking out for what's best for them. No child should ever have to be on the street and not have a place to call home or a shelter because their parents are dealing with things or something has happened. Mental health is extremely real, and if you cannot navigate through mental health and get your mental health taken care of, things are going to happen. Things fall apart. I know I was almost homeless. And I wouldn't know what to do if I was out on these streets with my kids and my grandson. I can just imagine what others that are out on the streets, pregnant, newborns, our vets, elderly, those that are disabled. There are so many different people out on the street that shouldn't. There should be services that is open 24 hours and meet them where they are at. There should be a shelter that is open 24 hours with all types of services. Trying to navigate through this housing system is a joke. You're met with so many barriers, one right after another. I couldn't even navigate through that housing, whatever it is, because there's barriers or on top of barriers, or they'll tell you one thing and there's nothing there to help you. There should be something. Can you just imagine when these cuts, or if the cuts come from this administration, how many more people are going to be out on the street? How many more people are going to be hungry? How many more children are going to be out on the street? How many seniors or those that are disabled and our veterans out on the street? Do better. Do better as a whole. There's people out here that really want to help y'all and show y'all the way how to do things. But you guys aren't reaching out. We need y'all to show up and show out for your citizens. Because we do as individuals and as orgs. I'm a single mother and I work a job. I go to school. I have kids and I show up with my own money all the time. Show up. Do better.
Thank you. Next, please.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Angela Manning. I'm unhoused as well. I've been here a whole bunch of times. I know that I probably not properly introduced myself, and I know you guys take a lot of scrutiny. And I just wanted to tell you guys that we do appreciate the things that you do, the things that you look past, look forward to. We appreciate that. Those things that we need, we appreciate that. I do look on, and I make sure that I pass that one on. See, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. When I came out here, I was hopeless, helpless, had no idea what it was. Got everything ripped from me, everything. My mom, didn't have a good relationship with them, nothing. I found the spirit within myself after I kept looking at all these people just doing the same thing over and over and over, just the same thing over and over. The veterans had no money coming in, you know, just the drugs, the alcohol, the things that go hand in hand with being homeless, you know, and it's like these people put on their shoes the same way we do as well, you know, and there's so many biased people and so many judgmental people that give that hope that those people have, the little bit that they have left, and they take it and they stomp it in the ground. I mean, like, one commitment to a child is a million commitments to to an adult, and we know that. And when I look at these people outside, it's like a child again. You're going back to babyism. You don't know where to start. I just found somebody that was going to the mission yesterday that literally was dropped off from doing 9 years. He went in when he was 17, did 9 years in prison. They gave him a train ticket and a bus ticket and brought him here. He was crying on the side of the wall, telling me, begging me, please don't leave him. I tried to make a fire for him. I tried to do everything. He was so messed up on Seroquel and all the drugs that they gave him in the prison system that he didn't know any other way. He had no idea. He was begging me just like I was his mother. I took him inside the mission, and I made him go inside because it was too cold out there for somebody that doesn't know what they're doing out there. It's too cold out there for me. It gets cold. It's like desert winds. I mean, like, there are things. There's another thing that they locked the bathroom up. The only bathroom that we had beyond McDonald's and the train station, they locked that bathroom all the way up. No water, no bathroom. McDonald's barely lets you in to use the bathroom. The train station now says ticket-only passengers. No warming center there. The mission won't let you in. I mean, what are we supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, all the trash everywhere. Everybody's getting angry. They're getting angry and angry and angrier. And once this weather breaks, it's going to be even more hell. It's going to be more hell for the police officers. It's going to be more hell for us. It's going to be more trash. It's going to be everything because everybody's going to scatter to try to find the things that they can get to use to live their life day by day. And all we need is a little bit of hope. We need something from you guys that's going to share the fact that we know that you're out there working for us. We know that you're out there doing things for us. They don't know those things. And if they, I try to drag them all with me. I promise I do. All week long, all month long, come with me, come with me, come with me. So you can see more and more people. Like, every face is different. Every story is not the same. You know, and we need more social workers. We need more mental health. We need all those things, but we need people that are going to reassure these people that need those services that they're going to get them and receive them and utilize them in a positive manner. Or else we're going to sit in the same way. So the drop-in now, they only let you in sometimes when they decide they want to. You know what I mean? Like, what? And I look back and I said, what would the people do if the drop-in wasn't there? And I try to tell these people, you know, what would you do if it wasn't here? Like, there would be a mess out there, even more of a mess than there is now. And they're dropping prisoners off, and they're dropping people off in Battle Creek, and they're doing things like that. We cannot use that in our community right now, especially because Kalamazoo, we need more money. We just need more money. And with the new things that are coming around and everything, it doesn't look good with a homeless person on the side of the road. We got to make sure that we make difference. We got to bridge these gaps that aren't being bridged. And everybody needs help. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi, my name is Jalen Kornbach, and I just have a few things to say. I'm from here, born and raised. I'm 28 years old. I know the struggle. I've been through it my whole life. I'm still here though, I'm blessed. I feel sad for the youngers, only because they need help too. And I can't focus on everybody because I need to focus on myself. It's the only way I can get myself locked in, by focusing on myself. My mother, she lost her dog. She kicking me out left and right. And that's who I'm staying with, and I hope I provide. I work hard at McDonald's, and I pay my way. She's grieving, but at the end of the day, that's her problem. It's a dog. I want her to let it go. But the city is corrupted. It need help. Literally, the children definitely need all that. Definitely. I have no kids. I have a girlfriend that have 3 baby girls. That's not mine. But I look at them like they're mine. And they need help too. I really didn't even have nothing to say or script it. This is me, my soul, my heart, my mind, my toes, my hands, my head. I just want y'all to know that everything is open arms because God got us. You just gotta believe. Everything can't just come easy like that. I understand that. You gotta work for it. You gotta do it yourself sometimes. But when it comes to kids, you have to take care of them. You have to guide them right, so they're able to grow up to be older to do something on their own. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Next, please. Seeing no one, this is the end of public comment time. I want to thank everyone who did take the time, made the effort to come down here. And I did make a mistake last time by talking to somebody during public comments, which is generally not happens. So sorry about doing that, and I won't do that again. Next, consent agenda. G.
The following items are presented for approval. First, the approval of a sole source consulting contract with Main and Meridian LLC, which is owned by Jeff Chamberlain, a City of Kalamazoo retiree, for consulting in areas requiring specific knowledge of city operations in the amount of $42,000. Next is approval of a contract supplemental and change order with Trace Analytical Laboratories Incorporated for the 2025 IPP compatibles for analytical testing services in the amount of $113,721.60, and approval of a budget amendment in the amount of $36,495. Next is the approval of a contract supplemental and change order with RK Davis Incorporated for various scope of work modifications during construction of the Kalamazoo Water Reclamation Plant's tertiary disc filtration process facility in the amount of $116,975.99. Next, the approval of a contract with Olson Contracting to remodel 4 restrooms at 415 Stockbridge in the amount of $118,500. Next, the approval of a 1-year contract extension with Blue Cleaning for custodial services at various city properties in the amount of $191,131.65. Next, the approval of a contract with Falcon Demolition LLC for the asbestos abatement and demolition at 322 East Stockbridge Avenue in the amount of $255,000. Next is the approval of a contract with A1 Asphalt Incorporated for the 2025 asphalt patch repair project in the amount of $316,300. Next, the adoption of a resolution setting forth the salaries of the city commissioner appointees effective March 3, 2025. Next, the adoption of a resolution approving a brownfield plan for the project located at 447 West North Street and 707 North Westnedge Avenue. Next, the acceptance of a grant in the amount of $50,000 from the Irving S. Gilmore Foundation in support of the 2025 Downtown Ambassadors Program. Next, the approval of the appointment of Jeff Chamberlain to the Utility Policy Committee as an outside consultant. Next, the approval of the following reappointments to the Zoning Board of Appeals. The reappointment of Beth Vandenhumber for a term expiring on March 31, 2028, and the reappointment of Remy Harrington for a term expiring on March 31, 2028. And finally, approval of the minutes of the City Commission meetings on December 16, 2024, and January 6, 2025.
Thank you, Manager Ritzma. Commissioners, the requested action is a motion to approve items 1 through 13 and authorize the city manager to sign all related documents on behalf of the city. Is there a motion? Motion made by Commissioner Hoffman, supported by Commissioner Wilson. Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradle.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hess.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooney.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The items on the consent agenda are approved. Manager Ritzma, the regular agenda.
First, item H1 is adoption of a notice of intent resolution for 2025 wastewater system revenue bonds in the amount not to exceed $11,500,000.
Thank you, Manager Ritzma. Do you have a staff report on this item?
Yeah, our Chief Financial Officer, Steve Vicenzi, will come forth and give a brief overview of the 3 regular agenda items since they all pertain to bonding. Steve?
Good evening.
Welcome.
So I will just give a brief overview of items H1, 2, and 3. So every year, as part of our bonding process, we have to come forward with our notice of intent, which is kind of the first formal step in letting the public know that we're going to be bonding for these amounts. These amounts all come from our capital plan, which was approved in the budget earlier in January. And then just to kind of go through a little bit, we have our wastewater bonds paying for wastewater infrastructure. Our water system, significant amount. There's $100 million of that bonding amount that is for a DWSRF bonding, which is related to lead line replacements, PFAS, remediation, consolidating stations 5 and 14. And with that, we have $20 million awarded as principal forgiveness towards that project. So that's $20 million of work that we get to do and not have to pay back. And then on top of that, those bonds are going to be at a below market interest rate of 2%, which will save us somewhere in the neighborhood of about $400,000 to $500,000 per year on the interest cost of those bonds. And then finally, we also have our general capital bonds, which pay for our local streets projects, our major street projects. For the first time this year internally, it'll include our parking system capital improvements. And then also our general fund capital, which includes heavy equipment, building renovations, police equipment, IT equipment, and our parks capital program as well. So just kind of a summary of where we are. This will be out for 45 days. If there's no petition in the next 45 days against the bonds, we'll then move forward to our next steps of obtaining bonding.
Thank you very much, CFO Vicenzi. I appreciate that. We're taking 3 separate actions, however, correct? And just specifically, you've gone through all of them, but just specifically just for our first action here for the $11,500,000, which is a wastewater system revenue bond. Could you just remind us specifically then what that particular action is related to?
So the action's related to funding our wastewater capital plan. Just kind of in short, our capital plans are all available on our website. I do have them here as well if there's any specific questions.
Okay, thank you so much. Questions, commissioners? Commissioner Pradle.
I don't think this matters because but I wanted to check with the city attorney. In the notice of intent resolution, I didn't see any errors, but in the summary packets for each of those items, H1, H2, H3, in the summary packet, the subject line says notice of intent resolution for 2025 wastewater system revenue bonds. And then in the recommendation, it just says notice of intent for the 2024 wastewater system bonds. And I think on all three of them it says that, but I'm assuming they should all be 2025 wastewater or whatever the next bond type is. I just want to make sure that that's at least noted. But just to clarify, though, they should all say 2025.
Correct. They should all be 2025.
Okay, great. Thank you.
That's helpful. Thank you, Commissioner Pradel. Other questions or comments on this from anybody? Thank you so much. Appreciate your presence. With no more questions, is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this item? This is item H1. Seeing no one, the recommended action, Commissioners, is a motion to adopt. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Cooney.
Support.
Supported by Vice Mayor Hess. Discussion, Commissioners? Commissioner Pradel.
Just noting that this is a lot of cheddar, if you will. But I think that Steve makes a very valid point about this is an opportunity to take advantage of financing opportunities where very low interest rates, forgivable opportunities for grants, those sort of things. And so, it makes sense why we're doing this. Just wanted to note the significance of seeing a $130 million amount.
Right.
Yes.
Just for clarification, that will be the thing we'll vote on.
That third
the third.
one, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
We're starting with the small dollars right now, right?
Sure.
$11.5 million.
Sure.
Any other discussion? Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Pradel.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hess.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooney.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. Next on the agenda is item H2. Manager Ritzma.
Adoption of a notice of intent resolution for the issuance of 2025 capital improvement bonds in the amount not to exceed $12,200,000.
Thank you so much. So CFO Vicenci basically talked about this in his remarks, so I will skip right to, is there anyone in the audience here in the chambers who would like to comment on this item? It's item H2. Seeing no one, the recommended action is a motion to adopt. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Yes, a motion made by Commissioner Hoffman.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Pradel. Any discussion, Commissioners? Seeing none, Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hess.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooney.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. Next on the agenda is item H3. City Manager Ritzma.
Adoption of a notice of intent resolution for the issuance of 2025 water supply system revenue bonds in the amount not to exceed $130 million.
Thank you so much. So now is where we get to the big cheddar here, Commissioner Pradel. I guess when we're talking about that, CFO Vicenci did speak to this one as well, so I will skip right to the chambers. Is there anyone here who would like to comment on this item? It's item H3. Seeing no one, the recommended action, Commissioners, is a motion to adopt. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Cooney.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Pradel. Discussion? Wilson, I'm sorry. Thank you, Commissioner Wilson. Discussion? Commissioner Pradel.
When you look at this one, these are the heavy hitters in the capital improvements project. So this is where you see the water main lead service line replacements, the PFAS mitigation and treatment improvements. So the station improvements. These are the very expensive things in the capital improvements project list. So this is a lot of good work that's going to be done in the community to make our infrastructure more resilient and stronger. So I will be supporting this.
Thank you, Commissioner Pradel. Other comments or discussion? So just to recognize this, yes, this is indeed a lot of money for the city of Kalamazoo. And if you look at our budget for this year, which for 2025 is much, much higher than it was last year, it's driven by our capital improvement project budget. That is what has driven the huge increase. It's not other spending. I call it its investment spending. It's investments in something that is transforming a dollar into infrastructure that will hopefully serve us for over 50 years here in Kalamazoo. A couple things about that is that I don't know how everyone's going to do this. You know, we're in a position now where we can do this borrowing here at the city, and I'm very glad we're in that situation. There's a variety of things that line up to put us in this situation. One is having, you know, a budget that we have managed our liabilities around the edges, whether you're talking about pension fund liabilities, that allows us to do this kind of borrowing. But I have to say, it's personally frightening in a certain way. This is a great deal of money. This is a huge investment. And a couple things happen around this. New requirements come down the road. PFAS, for example, that's something we weren't talking about at all just a few years ago, and suddenly that's something we need to address. Well, should we be addressing it? Yeah, most certainly we should be addressing it. I would suggest that that's one of our primary responsibilities sitting up here, is providing the most basic of needs for everybody, which is water and wastewater. That is our responsibility. I am disappointed, however, that as these new regulations are promulgated, as things come up, it is left to the locals. Yes, we're getting lower interest rate. I get it. Maybe some of this will be forgiven through the Drinking Water Revolving Fund, but even for lead, which presumably we thought was good and functional when it was installed a long, long time ago, you know, it's important for us to take that out. I just feel like the locals are just being left on their own to address these issues, and that just does not seem appropriate to me. It really doesn't. But I don't know, that seems a little bit like crying in the wilderness right now. But, you know, we're doing it, and I think we're doing it in spite of the fact that there is not sufficient recognition about how important and basic this is as a national undertaking. And I would really like to see more national support for these kinds of infrastructure projects. I mean, the examples are rampant, starting right in our state for underinvestment in water systems, Jackson, Mississippi, you name it. So here we are, we're working on this. Another thing I just want to comment on, just as a reminder for all of us who are sitting up here and anyone who may be watching, is that we do have a retreat coming up. I know we're talking about that. It's just going to be in a week on Saturday. We're talking about priorities. And I get that. We're going to talk about priorities, but I want to remind us that this budget document is a huge representation of priorities. And even though we may not talk about clean water at our retreat on Saturday, well, we sure as heck are making a big commitment to clean water here in the city of Kalamazoo. And that's no one else's job but ours locally here. But this basically puts a big, big stake in the ground that this commission and this administration is focused on making sure we have a resilient, functioning water and wastewater system. Not just for those of us sitting here. We're replacing pipes in the ground that are 50 to 100 years old, but this is a system that's going to be a place for generations hence. So it's obviously, it's something that's a high priority for us. I appreciate everyone's support for that. Clerk Borland, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Hess.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooney.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. Reports and legislation. Manager Ritzman.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. First item, the mayor just mentioned our retreat this Saturday, March 8th. It will be from 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Foundry, which is located at 600 East Michigan. And the purpose of the retreat is to establish priorities for the 2026 city budget. Next, just want to remind everyone that this month, March, is curbside bulk trash collection pickup. And if you go to the city's website, www.kalamazoocity.org/bulk trash, you'll find what items are accepted and the collection day of where you live. And then nominations are currently being accepted for the 2025 Historic Preservation Awards merit. And you can nominate a person, project, or organization with an outstanding commitment to historic preservation. And that nomination process can be found at www.kalamazoocity.org/HPC Awards. And finally, just to get a little spring in our life, our Kalamazoo Parks spring programs are open for registration. The programs are after school and include things like Moxie volleyball, youth soccer, and more. So that's all I have this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Manager Ritzman. Next on our agenda is the opportunity for commissioner comments. And before we jump off into that, I just want to remind all of us and those of us that are here in the chambers that we do have a closed session this evening, which we will be having to make a motion to go into closed session, and we will not be coming back out of that closed session to take action. If there were some action that we needed to take out of a closed session, and this happens sometimes, then we would come back into open session to actually take that action. This closed session tonight will not require that. The closed session only occurs to discuss particular things deemed appropriate for closed session, as carefully judged by our attorney Leal here about what's appropriate. So we'll be going into closed session after commissioner comments, and then we will be adjourning the meeting and not coming back. So that all said, commissioners, I want to take the opportunity for making comments this evening. Okay, Commissioner Cooney.
Thank you, Mayor. There's a lot of changes taking place in this country, and it was wonderful to see such a great number of people on the streets last Friday. They're a reminder that we are a democracy. We are not powerless, that by law, it is the people who have the ultimate power, that we will not allow a few people to seize power against our Constitution. It was great to see some of the signs that people carried. We the people. We believe in diversity, equity, and inclusion. All people deserve health care. No human being is illegal. So there are people and groups all over the city and all over the country determined to make real the ideals promised in our sacred documents, liberty and justice for all. I hope that all of us will join in this great struggle.
Thank you, Commissioner Cooney. Yes, Commissioner Wilson.
Thanks, Mayor. Real quick, I just wanted to shout out the Kalamazoo Community Foundation for throwing a whale of a launch event for RX Kids. I think it was last weekend. Had the pleasure of attending, and as most people know, that for the first year you're eligible for, I believe, $7,500 for the first year. But what I found out, which was great, Advia Credit Union is also providing assistance for families to set up bank accounts and saving accounts for their children. So for more information on that, go to rxkids.com, as well as reach out to Advia Credit Union. Thanks.
Very important. I appreciate that. It's open for business, isn't it? Yes, it is. All right. Other comments, commissioners? Vice Mayor Hess?
Sure, I'll go. So at our committee of the whole this afternoon, we had a presentation about the Streets for All projects, like changing streets here in the city of Kalamazoo. And I'd like to talk a little bit about the streets under the guise of trust. Because one of the biggest things we do every day, most of us, get into a vehicle is trust that all the other drivers pay attention and follow the rules. Personally, I've been hit 4 times here in Kalamazoo, all 4 by distracted drivers. And I'm thankful that the only thing was damage to my cars. But I still have to pay higher insurance rates, had to purchase new cars, and so on. My trust has been eroded in our community of Kalamazoo, because I talk a lot about community up here throughout my conversations, and it means to me to have charge of this together. Together, we are responsible for each other's safety. And we can spend millions on roads trying to slow people down, but until people pay attention, people will still have crashes here in Kalamazoo. It takes us as a city, us as all individuals, to keep people safe. Last year, Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety logged 468 violations for failure to stop within an assured clear distance, and that was in 24, an 8% increase from 2023, where they logged 432 violations, and those were more likely they resulted in crashes. My personal crash happened on the day that the city of Kalamazoo announced a decrease in crashes in Kalamazoo. It's the number of crashes, but these can be anywhere from a fender bender to perhaps a total of a car. I want to thank public safety for their response, to Officer Caswell for his great care on a very cold day, and I'm grateful that I got to experience the My 90 that we've been hearing about personally, to be able to rate how that officer did on that particular stop. There are a lot of things here in Kalamazoo that we can do to help each other out, but the biggest one is to help ourselves out. Pay attention when we get behind the wheel. Pay attention to the people around us. Pay attention to the speed limit, and pay attention to the road. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Yeah, Commissioner Pradel.
Thank you, Mayor. For a number of believers, just a segment of believers about to enter the Lenten season, and something that I've always it's kind of bothered me is that kind of the way that goes, and for a lot of people who are Christians that are part of the Lenten season, is that it's about giving something up. And it's always bothered me because I feel like giving something up is more about yourself, and I wish we would remove the word up and just give during that season, because the difference between giving up and just giving is one is for yourself and one is for others. Both of them require significant sacrifice, if you do it, and I'd rather be sacrificing for others. I think, Amanda, you were up here and you last 2 weeks talking about the socks, which were a very powerful representation to remind of a way of giving an act of service. But I wanted to take a moment just to remind the community, because we probably don't do a good enough job of reminding people about who's up here and what these people who are up here do to devote their lives, their professions, to serving other people. You have Commissioner Decker, who's not here tonight, who works at YWCA, and you can imagine the work that she's doing to support and uplift people in one-on-one ways. But that's just one partition of her life. You have Commissioner Hoffman, who, if you ask anybody who in terms of is one of the greats of housing in the community, who's devoted a career to supporting people, whether it be leading Open Doors or leading work in social justice in a current profession, is just all about it. Don, we go out to breakfast once a month, and I'm constantly learning something about this guy. I mean, even before he was in Kalamazoo a long time ago, about the amazing things that he's done to help people, but we all know that he continues to just do whatever he can to lay on people and support people wherever it is. You know, I've said it before about Mayor Anderson, but there's probably not a human being alive in Kalamazoo, city of Kalamazoo, who's done more to create housing in his lifetime than this human being. You know, you have Commissioner Hess, who is always trying to find some way to support and uplift people and find ways to connect dots where there's opportunities to make connect dots, but you can't go around town without finding some student or coworker that she's inspired in her life. You got Commissioner Wilson, who's coming back to Kalamazoo and is trying to revive and uplift, you know, young professionals and make people believe in the city. You know, these are people who legitimately do more than just the small minor acts, but literally devote their lives to uplifting this community. And I really would argue that that's part of the reason why we're all here, is because this group of people legitimately and genuinely with every fiber of their body believes in the people in this community and want to uplift them. And so I appreciate that reminder, because it's a good reminder during this season, especially about the act of giving out. But I wanted to remind the community that this group of people is truly remarkable, and it is truly an honor to work and serve with this group here, because they are working tirelessly, even when you don't see it, in these little sound bites up here, doing work to transform the city in meaningful ways in individual lives. So thank you all for all that you do and continue to do.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Pradel. I wanted to ask the chief, if I don't want to catch you by surprise here, but I know you've got issued a recent kind of a publication that comes out of Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety, talking about some of the work you do, some of the efforts, and that you're in a hiring mode again. You want to make any comments about that?
Thank you, Mayor, for the opportunity. Appreciate it. Good evening, everyone. We just closed our current hiring process. We are fortunate to have 18 people that have made it through first round interviews that are going to background, so that's a good number. 17 outside candidates and 1 outside lateral candidate, so that's good. But we just onboarded 3 new cadets today too, so that's another part of our hiring strategy, is to get the next generation of officers in here. These are college-age kids that are interested in law enforcement, so we started 3 more today, so we have 4 cadets in total. All piece of that, hopefully a future pipeline for new officers. So we will be starting another hiring process here this spring, and I'll keep you posted on when the next one starts, but we are, yes, still hiring. And another thing we have, in May, we have our Citizens Academy coming up too, so look to our website on that. So if you're interested in maybe what we do in law enforcement, in May, we'll have our annual spring Citizens Police Academy coming up. So please look for that for additional information. So thank you.
I appreciate that very much. Appreciate the efforts. And I know there was a shooting that occurred this weekend, right? And luckily, nobody was shot, but a gun fired. And I know that every time I hear about that, I know there's members of your team that are rushing into a situation like that. I think it was a large group of people, so you're rushing in, you don't know what's going on, you don't know who's got what. It could be dangerous for everybody, and I just appreciate that continued effort. So thank you so very much.
Yeah, thank you. No one was hurt, luckily, and we're investigating that now. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
So, Commissioners, we have a closed session, so we need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Hess. We'll give it to Commissioner Hoffman. Clerk Borland, please call the roll.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooney. Yes. Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hess.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. We will be going into closed session and will not be coming back to the open session here. I love you, Kalamazoo. We are adjourned.